Good afternoon and welcome to our supposedly weekly um, Blue Rose game, Her Majesty's Chanterelle. First of all, an apology to those of you who have been waiting quite a long time for this episode. Unfortunately, shortly after our previous episode, my mother was rushed into hospital and is currently terminally ill. So this is the first time we've actually gamed since, well, it's been now over a month, I think, because I've been busy dealing with that. So apologies, but that's the reason for it. Hopefully we'll be back to weekly now, but we'll just have to wait and see, obviously, under the circumstances. But we hope to be back every week. My name's Bryan F. Irving. I'll be your host this afternoon for the game. I'll be your games master. And with me we have the cast. So, Louise, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Louise. I don't have a bad joke because it's the wrong day for bad jokes. I'm playing Myval, who is a talking raccoon.
Essentially, yes. So, Shaun, would you like to introduce yourself?
No.
This is what I get
I'm
for asking
Shaun.
closed questions.
I'm play a character called Thaldron, who's I don't know, a bit of an artist, and am I the navigator? Read the maps. I don't
think
know.
you are,
I can't
yes.
remember. Been that long, and I'm play is it a Vata'an, a Vatara, or
Vata'an,
something?
yeah.
It's kind of like an elf, but different.
Kind of similar, yeah, indeed. So not falling for the closed question trap again. Patrick, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Patrick, and I'm playing Anemone, a sea fork. And I think my job on the ship would be probably something to do with like away missions, anything to do with going into the sea itself. Possibly something to do with maintenance. Did we ever actually come up with what our job role was on the ship?
I don't think we did have a specific rule for you. I think you were
junior officers, certainly.
Junior officers without a portfolio, I think.
Yeah.
More or less. Yeah. Okay, so...
We're learning the ropes.
Oh.
The red shirts.
Learning the ropes. Right, okay.
Decks.
So, we rejoin Her Majesty's Chanterelle, a ship dispatched in order to try and make more accurate charts of the archipelago. Unfortunately, something has gone horribly wrong, and one of the other vessels in the group that was dispatched for this important mission has been sunk under mysterious circumstances by the same storm that struck the Chanterelle out of nowhere. Since then, the Chanterelle have saved some of the crew of the other vessel and have discovered that the Diamantina had located an island that appears on no charts. Indeed, an island that can't even be seen until you get very close to it. An island that even the other occupants of the archipelago didn't know was there. What strangeness is this? Well, the ship, have located this strange island, and the party are part of an away team trying to investigate it. I'll just take you over to the island map itself. Except that's the Games Master's island. Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. I had a sudden moment of panic there when I thought I'd shown you the Games Master's only map, but no. It will resolve in just a moment. It's quite a... There we go. So the party, having investigated this strange semi-submerged temple on the coast, have discovered some interesting things about the island, but there are still more mysteries than anything else. Travelling inland, they discovered this cairn, well, it's too large to be a cairn, it's more of a burial mound of some description, upon which is a strange... Is it a lock? Or... Well, it's certainly some kind of strange structure built onto the front of the ship. It's not the ship. It'll help me out here. Door itself. I'm having trouble doing words today. As you are about to turn away, because you'd realised that you can't get in. There's something about this sort of lock thing that seems to be sealing it. And Thaldron has managed to sense some ancient and powerful magic in the area, but it's kind of a faint sense. It's almost as if it's coming from inside this burial mound. But as you're turning away, one of the other sea folk that are with you, and I'm just trying to remember their names.
Is that young Tom or old Bob? I don't know.
Thank you. Young Tom, yes. Young Tom's kind of still looking at this door with a puzzled expression upon his face. And as he looks at it, he reaches into his pouch and he produces this metal shape as the best way of describing it. Reaches forward and places it on this panel on the door. There's a kind of metallic clicking noise as it thumps into place. And I'm just going to take you over to what I hope is the correct... Yep, okay. So as it does, it kind of clicks into place on... There it is. You can all see it now, yes?
No.
Nope.
You can't, so I've just taken
Still
me
on the
over.
map.
I still have the map.
Taking me over, and not you, right? You are. Okay. Tell me when you can see the door.
I'd say the wood grain of the door incredibly zoomed in.
You might want to zoom out a little bit then.
There we go. That's a door.
Right,
That's
so
a door.
you can see there's one metal thing in it already, and he clunk places another one. Right, don't move those. They're not there.
All right, so there's a load of stuff at the bottom.
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to see that bit. They will become available during the course of the game. So he's placed one clunk. It's fitted into the one that was already there. And it gives you the impression that this is some kind of puzzle lock that's sealing this door shut. You'd no idea where young Tom got this piece of metal. What do you want to do?
Right, okay. So he's just put... We're talking about that purple one that's been put in the top there.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
The how should we say, the more, I don't know, indigo coloured one as opposed to the violet one below it.
Yes, yeah.
Where did you get that from, Tom?
Well, it didn't occur to us it was anything important before. In fact, I'm not even really sure why I picked it up, but it was in the temple, the sunken temple. It just looked like a piece of broken metal, and I kind of absent-mindedly thought, I'll take that. It might be useful later, but I thought maybe for, patching a hole or something. But it just seems... as soon as I saw this just seemed right. It just felt like it belonged on... I don't think I've got it in exactly the right place, but it certainly seems it fits in one of these. This is some kind of puzzle lock, I think.
Yes. Agreed.
All right, so you've got to fill all 4 panels correctly with the pieces that we get from... I presume there's... We found one piece in the temple. There's already one piece which is there.
Yeah.
And this would suggest that there are more pieces to find.
It would, yes.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I recall that Myval was being affected by something in the area that was making them the worst. So I'm going to throw all these small whelk shells over my shoulder very wastefully.
Right, you are.
Sniff the door.
You're going to sniff the door. Okay, give
Yes.
me a perception smelling test, please.
It's disappeared. No, it's
I'm
back.
just trying to sort out so that you can't see the bits you shouldn't be able to see. That should have been set. I'm just using fog of war rather than the more advanced. There you go. So now you should just be able to see the bits you can see.
Yeah. Smells like
Not
door.
like
It does smell, oddly enough, Sean's called it there, like cedarwood. Although there is a faint smell of something else behind it, but you can't quite, with a roll like that, you can't quite pick up on what that something else is. But it's
Musty
kind of,
damp.
yeah, it's not quite that, but it's not quite not that either. So
Have you noticed there's like a little sort of like peephole in the middle there that obviously folds inwards, and the guy says, "Your name's not down. You're not coming in."
coming in.
Well, I'll relay that to an enemy. Smells like a damp door. Yes, I'm not letting go of that voice ever.
Oh, dear.
Well, thanks for that information.
Having discovered that the door smells a little bit odd, sort of like damp wood, but not entirely. There's a faint difference to it that you just can't put your nose on.
Desperately trying to get down that grippy crack thing there.
Should we take those 2 pieces of metal with us? Is the question.
I don't think it's a good idea to leave them.
Okay.
Didn't you say at some point, Bryan, that we were feeling more selfish, or our particular vice is active?
Yes, your particular vice is more compelling at the moment. You've noticed it's been getting stronger the further inland you've travelled.
Right.
So you're deciding to take the pieces out, are you, and keep them with you?
Yeah, I'll take both.
Okay. Okay, you take the 2 pieces out that just snap out dead easily. It's just like taking one magnet off another. And you carefully secrete them somewhere about your person.
Do they magnetically draw to each other?
Actually, no.
It's the magnet in the door, if at all.
Yeah.
It's not the pieces. So, i.e., putting these pieces next to a compass isn't going to mess it up.
No, it won't. The other thing is it won't give you any clues by which ones seem to pull on each other. So you won't get any clues from, is that in the right place? It must be, because it's reacting to the next one. They only seem to react to the door.
Okay.
Although you won't know that for positive till you've got more than 2 parts.
Quick test.
Take another piece of metal, like a sword.
Yes. That doesn't react to the door either.
Right, so magic.
No. Here's another thing. Do those pieces of metal fit against any of the other 3 slots? Well, did they have the same effect?
Any of them, yeah.
Any of the slots, any of the 4 slots, those 2 pieces of metal will fit into.
Yeah.
And stick.
Right.
Okay.
So you get the impression that this is definitely the right sort of thing to be doing, but it's not going to give you any further clues by, it'll only stick to the right one of the 4 slots. Yeah.
Okay, then. So, speaking to Tom.
Yeah.
Where exactly in the temple did he find it? Was it inside a chest, or did it look like it?
It was just lying on the ground in the...
Lying on the ground?
Yeah. Just like abandoned on the ground.
So that's probably not like any kind of reverence that it was put there, not put there for safekeeping. Probably dropped.
Could have been dropped, but remember, at some point somebody had partially looted the temple and then been interrupted. So it could have been dropped. It might have been originally placed somewhere reverentially, and they might have dropped it as they were fleeing. Because remember, you did find that water elemental in the temple that did say it had chased looters, but they'd got away with some things. So you're now curious as to, was this perhaps one of the things that they tried to steal and left behind? Had they brought it to the temple from somewhere else and left it behind, or what?
And were there more pieces that they took with them?
I'll check Silverlight and see if there are any like embedded pieces in the hilt or in the scabbard. If there's any pieces anywhere sort of stored within the body of the sword.
Okay, so you make a quick check of silver light, and you're fairly certain that there doesn't appear to be any more pieces of this puzzle there.
Does the pommel unscrew?
The pommel does unscrew, yes.
It does?
Yeah.
Okay, unscrew it.
Okay, you've now removed the pommel from your magic sword, and it
It's
seems
no
to have
longer magical.
it seems to have no obvious effect,
Is there like a
except the
compartment
sword
inside?
becomes. Is there like a compartment? No.
Oh.
No.
Screw it back on.
Also, these bits would be far too big to fit in the pommel of a sword.
Oh, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah. So the
Wasn't
pommel of the
too
sword's
sure on
about half the size of a human fist, whereas these things are about 1.5 times the size of a human fist.
Okay, just screw it back on. Make sure it still behaves as it's intended.
Yes, it seems to.
Right, okay. Then possibly back to the temple and see if there are any other things that we might have missed.
You want to go back?
It's where we found the last one, and there could be a clue as to where the rest of them are. What do you think?
Thoughts?
I thought we'd fairly thoroughly searched that place.
You
I
did.
could be wrong.
I thought we'd searched it.
Okay,
You're fairly confident you did, yes.
so push on then.
I thought we were going to have a repeat of Saragossa's tower there from that.
Stairs downstairs in the matron's chamber.
Okay, so where would you like to go? You're on the map as the red
banner.
standard, yeah. You should be able to move yourselves. I'll also show you the... I'll just take you over to the map you've got in your hand at the moment. This is the one that was given to you by the survivors of the Diamantina. So you should be looking at that one now.
The one with the scribbles on it.
Yes. So you are aware that you are here. Yeah.
Yep.
You have 2 other points of interest marked that you haven't visited yet. And you're kind of more or less equidistant between them.
Before we go anywhere, check around the immediate vicinity. Go around the perimeter of this building and see if there are any pieces for that lock.
Okay.
Take a look right in front of the door. Brush the dirt away and see if there's anything immediately here.
Okay, so you make a thorough search of the area. Give me perception searching tests, please.
Everybody? Anybody?
Anybody who's involved in the search can do it. Yeah. Okay. So between you and the NPCs, I shan't bother to roll for them just now. Between you and the NPCs, you make a thorough search of the area and can find nothing at all that looks anything like this metal. No more pieces of the puzzle located around here. You can't find any indication that places are trampled down or anything like that either.
Okay. Check around the square openings in the puzzle lock. Make sure there's no pieces that are invisible.
Okay, yes, so you make a thorough check there. I'm not going to ask for any kind of perception test because you would be able to feel if there was something there you couldn't see. So you check by giving it a good bit of a feel, and you find no hidden secret parts, no.
Okay.
Can I lick the door?
Yes. You can lick the door if you want to. It tastes a bit of cedar wood and something else, so you can give me a perception tasting check if you'd like.
Poison. It's like poison.
Do you know? It does. No. There is a.
I get damned.
Yes, your sense of taste has leapt the aid of your sense of smell, and you finally figured out what that sort of unpleasant dampness scent was. It's decay and it's rot. But it's not the decay or rot you would expect from wood. It's more like decaying or rotting flesh.
I'm now wiping my tongue on my hands, going.
Surely a poison from a wooden door would sap your strength.
Oh, God.
Thank you.
Slicing my tongue on a rock here.
we should vanish from this area.
God,
I just thought I'd pitch that in.
Okay, so yeah, it's a taste that shouldn't be where you're finding it. Is the other thing. It's also as if it's almost as if it's kind of leaching through the wood from something inside this barrow mound.
Let's leave a contingent here. There can be a splinter group.
I swear to God.
Weeping willows. Let's go. Let's leave.
Right, so I'm going to now that you've seen the
I think.
Go on.
I was going to say we're closer to the caves in the south.
Yeah.
So...
I thought it was going to be another pun.
No,
right.
we're closer to the caves in the south, so probably head to that one first.
So on our map then,
Mm-hmm.
on this map. So if we're going to do a line effectively, as it were, like it's a freehand. I take it we're going to go sort of south.
Well,
and
if you
then
move about,
through.
if you move to where, yeah, you can move
Like
yourselves. Actually, I'll move you on this occasion to about here. So, as you're moving across the, I'll just put you more centrally on the line you've actually given me. Yes, as you are moving south across the island, you occasionally see signs of wildlife, mostly birds, mostly seabirds come to that. But around the tree line, which is kind of tropical and subtropical trees, you occasionally get the sense of something moving in there. Give me a perception seeing test, please.
Everyone?
Everyone, please. Yeah. Okay.
Apparently, I can't see. I'm still horrified by the tongue taste.
Pretty much. I mean, throughout the entire march south, Myval's kind of continued to try and clean their tongue from this foul taste of rot and decay that they've managed to get on there. Okay,
14
so
with 5 points of stun.
14 will do. Okay, so while Thaldron's mildly concerned that you might be going to be ambushed from the tree line, an enemy you can see clearly enough to know that there's no ambush to worry about. It's just the occasional animal moving around in the tree line, sort of larger than the seabirds. But they don't appear to be aggressive, and they're staying within the trees. As you head further south, it becomes the land becomes increasingly more hard going. So you start to climb up sort of partially wooded hills. Here and there, you're forced to turn back and swing a bit wider past a cliff or some obstruction that's going to be too difficult to maneuver. As you continue, you start to come down out of the cliffs into a kind of combination of land that's both in parts quite rocky, but the tree line kind of extends into it a little bit. And by the time you emerge onto the top of the cliffs, you're actually quite tired from quite heavy going work of forcing your way through the landscape, which is clearly entirely untamed. There's no sign of civilization around at all. When you get to the cliff face, and you can hear the crashing surf against the cliffs, and as you peer over, you can see several cave entrances in the cliff itself on the waterline. So it's as if the cliffs have been eroded by the water and will be partially flooded.
Not a problem.
Right. So do we want to make our way west, as it were, down to over to here?
Just look like there's a little bit of an easier way down if we go that way.
There absolutely is, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
With that being the easier way, is it more likely to be defended?
Well, we're
mean,
going to be
have
above
a
it, looking down at it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It would really suck if we deliberately took the hardest way possible
Yep.
and then discovered it was fine. We should have gone the easy way.
Yep. That is the risk we take.
Because I would suggest that. I mean, I don't fancy falling off a cliff.
No.
Yeah, if you went over the cliff and sort of abseiled down, there would be a considerable danger in that.
Mm-hmm.
In that, I mean, you are sailors, so you're kind of used to rope work, but you do have the crash and surf against the cliff side. It would be quite dangerous. Or you could just walk down to there and take a look. It is entirely up to you.
Surely one of us has a mini telescope.
I think I did say to pack one.
I think you have, yes. I think you've used it as well. So
We would use
you've
the
definitely
spike.
got
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
We would have taken one with us, I would have thought.
So you can scan the area through it to see if it
Yeah.
looks like there's any ambushes for you. So that would be another perception searching test, perception seeing test.
Remember not to hold it up to your eye with the patch.
Make sure you look in the right end.
I still can't see anything. I'm going to hand it to somebody else.
Okay, so you hand it to an enemy who scans the area and sees nothing at all indicative of anything that they need to worry about. And then an enemy hands it on to Thaldron, who scans the area, and again you don't see any indication of an ambush. The ground between you and where the cliff runs down towards the coast is fairly open, so the only really dangerous point you think would be about there, but you can see nothing to indicate that there's danger lurking.
Around the trees, past those trees at that narrowest point, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay then. Well, I think we should just troop on down to the beach.
Okay.
Then.
Okay, making it there, you can now see across the cliff face. There are 3 cave mouths, of which 2 of them are quite large and one of them is very small.
Yeah, that's the far one from us.
Yes, it is. The far one's quite small.
Is it small or is it just far away?
So
Both.
we've got. Has anybody got a blonde wig?
Can't say that I packed it.
Because
Yeah.
we've got Daddy Sea Serpent, Mummy Sea Serpent, and Baby Sea Serpent. And this is the tale of Goldilocks. And we're going to go and eat their porridge and break their chairs.
Ooh, porridge. Yeah.
Are we at high tide, low tide? I take it there are tides.
There are tides, yes. So that's a pretty good
Standard
question.
setting.
I'm going to have to work out how long you've been on the island. You are...
And is it possible to walk dry along to the cave? Or is it definitely
Okay.
the water, it doesn't matter whether it's high or low tide, would be up against the...
Yeah, the water would be up against the cliff face and into the caves a little bit, regardless of high or low tide. But it currently seems
Could
to
we
be...
wade it? That is the question, rather than swim it.
No, it's going to be too deep from the coast into the cave mouth itself. There's going to be at least some swimming involved.
Well, I don't know. What time of day is it now? Are we...
That's a good question. So you landed... It's been so long, I can't remember. I think you landed in the morning, didn't you? So
Yeah, it was early as there was sort of darkness sort of thing.
Yeah.
We came ashore.
Right you are. So let me just do a measure and then try and work it out from there. So you landed there, you went... oh, hang on, let's snap into an awkward place. So let's take snap off altogether. So you landed there, and then went there. And then from there you went there, and then from there you fought your way through this area. There. So you've done about 8 kilometres in total over some fairly rough ground. So let's see now. That would be 8 kilometres would be about 17 miles. So yeah, you've spent most of the day. So if you arrived, when you said early darkness, did you mean it was like early in the morning but still dark, not quite dawn?
Twilight. Yeah. So dawn, effectively.
Dawn. Yeah. Okay. So so it's 8.5 kilometers over rough terrain. You're currently talking about. You've got
Early
about
afternoon.
yeah. It's late afternoon, so it's probably about 5 p.m. now. So you've still got several hours of daylight.
Do we want to make camp and sort of take cover, as it were, at this point?
That's not a terrible idea.
And wait until the morning for be refreshed to go into the.
Actually, haven't you camped once already on the island? Because didn't you get ambushed while you were camped?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and we gave them. We let some of them go to instill fear.
That's right. So actually, then we've split your day up. So this won't be mid-afternoon. This will be sort of middle of the second day on the island, because you did deliberately camp at one point.
We did, because we took a recovery session at that
That's
point.
right, you did. So yeah, it's about midday of day 2.
Okay, right. So we've got time then.
Am I right in assuming that we brought sufficient provisions for X
I
amount of time?
seem to recall you brought 3 days worth of provisions, and you'd told the Chanterelle that if you hadn't come back in 3 days to start panicking.
Right.
Or to initiate whatever response it was you'd told them to have. I'll have to check back through my notes. I think it was to
we
meet
can do
you
a
at...
psychic contact thing
You can, yes.
if we can see the ship. So
Hadn't we already made psychic contact?
You had made psychic contact with them to tell them that you were heading for the barrow mound. Yes.
Oh.
What you haven't done is told them that you're moving from there south to the caves, and you can't see the ship at the moment from where you are.
Does it require line of sight?
No, because you're very familiar with the crew.
In which case, we'll make camp and report in.
So you're making camp again?
If we're at the end of the day.
No.
No, we're at the middle of the day.
Middle of the day, right? Okay. Then we push on. How about the sea folk should be okay swimming across?
Do you want to do a recon first?
Yeah. I'll take the sea folk and head in on point.
Okay. I take it you're going from the closest to the furthest away. Or are you not?
Going from the closest to the, as in over
like left
here.
to right. To look at the caves.
Ah, right, yeah. So looking at them in order, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, got you.
Okie dokie. So I will pull you over to the first of the sea caves, which I think is
Sea
this map.
caves, there they are.
Yeah, yes. And I will need to bring over the... Now, where were you last all together? Is the question.
That would be on the map outside of the barrow.
Yeah, we were definitely
outside of the barrow. Yes, of course. If I nip over here and grab you all from there. So I don't need to grab you all, do I? I only need the sea folk that are going in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's young Roger, Anemone, and old...
Did we take the other guy? Don't know if we brought him.
I don't know, actually. Seems to be missing from that.
Yeah, I think he got left at the ship because he's the only other sea folk.
Yeah, we left.
I do recall something about making sure that there was one left. Yes.
Right. Okay. That might explain why I've only got young Roger on your list here for sea folks.
That was Old Tom. I think his name's Old Tom and Young Roger over the two. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Copy. So
I think I called him Young Tom before. Because funnily enough, there's two young guys at work called Tom.
Right. Okay, so I am going to put the sea folk on this map in just a moment. You won't need swimming checks for sea folk. This is kind of this is like walking for humans. You wouldn't be expected to roll for this. There might be exceptions to that in very strong currents, but
Yes.
currently this is this is something you can very much cope with. So I've moved all the players over to there, but I imagine that only you can see.
I think I'm seeing through Young Roger's eyes.
Yeah. Can everybody see? Because what should happen
Yeah.
is that those of you who aren't here should be able to see through young Roger's eyes, just so that we don't have to, so that Patrick doesn't have to describe it too in depth. You can just assume. There you go. So there you are. You've got the crashing surf of sort of banging against the rocks as it's thundering in. It's high tide, but it will be on the turn soon, you think. The strength of the tide here isn't enough to give the sea folk any real difficulty. Not where you are at the moment, anyway. So what would you like to do?
Yet.
We'll swim ourselves round. Why am I doing that? Yeah, maybe if I just tell you where we're going first, probably like into there.
Right? Yeah, you can move yourself there.
Right. Is that a big enough gap to get through?
It is a big enough gap to get through. What you're
Right.
finding here, though, is the tides are starting to kind of bounce off the rocks and cross one another. So it is a little bit more difficult. So even sea folk are going to need a swimming test here, but it is going to be a very low risk.
There's a boat.
So you need a 7 or better, the pair of you.
Right. Is that a boat and a campfire?
That's what it looks like.
It does look like a boat and a campfire, doesn't it? Yes.
Okay.
The campfire has been put out, but there's still enough smoke to suggest that it's only recently been put out.
And all of the ship's crew are alike, yeah?
All of the ship's crew are alike? Oh, and stats-wise, yes.
Yeah.
Ah, you're rolling that for us, right, okay. Yeah. Okay, so let me see. Yeah, you're both managing this easily enough, even though the water's kind of crashing off the rocks and then backwards. It's almost like an echo would be, only with water. So you're getting water slapping back off the rocks in multiple directions, causing this sort of cross-tidal effect. But
We could use that boat.
You could use that
We
boat.
could. We shall bring it back. Right then. So
I quite like the aquarium effect with the arch, the rock arch.
it's lovely,
Yes, it's
isn't it?
nice, isn't it?
And I've just seen a turtle move.
You have.
Oh. That one.
That one. Yeah.
Bloody fast turtle, innit?
It is, yeah.
It's yo, but totally, dude.
Okay,
Young
so
Mr. Turtle is my father.
as you're making your way through this gap in the two rocks there, like the cliff face on the left and the high rock that doesn't quite reach the top of the cave itself. The cave here is about sort of 8 or 9 meters high, so it's a big cave. It's high. It's obviously been torn out of the rock by centuries of tidal activity banging against the rock and wearing away the softest parts. Over to the right, you can see that rock archway where some parts of the rock have just proved harder for the sea to erode than others, and over the centuries it's eroded away to create that kind of nice archway. Could you give me a perception seeing test, please?
Ooh.
I see through time.
Bloody hell, that is quite good, isn't it? Okay, let me just check something. So you scored 19 as you're as you are peering round the oh, interesting. Okay, and also interesting.
Peering around the rocks.
That's interesting too. Okay. Just take that off. As you're peering round in the darkness, you see several things. The first of all is you see faint movement up on top of that arch.
Right.
So I'm just going to drop this in.
It's an archer.
Oddly enough it is, yeah. You also see somebody here quickly dash across to this other rock. So you've seen somebody dash from one rock there to the other rock there, and you can still see a top knot appearing over the top of it.
When you said that rock there, were you pinging somewhere?
I was, but if you can't see, because this is a large map, I would suggest pan to your right and then up a bit, and I'll ping again.
Yes, please.
Just tell me when you've seen it.
I still can't. Okay, I'm zoomed all the way out. Right. There we go. Weird.
I think that was because I was on the Games Master's layer.
Right, okay.
Seems to have been the problem. So I'm going to drop these guys in as well from the Games Master's layer. That's where things went wrong. And fuck's sake. There you go. Okay, so this guy here, the smaller of the two, you saw him dash across from one rock to the other, and you can see like his eyes and his top knot peering out from behind the rock. And you vaguely saw a bigger guy behind these rocks, kind of peered around, looked everywhere, and then looked up at the archer on the archway, who is communicating with him via sign language.
Yep. I say to young Roger, dive. Straight under the water, the pair of us, and we're swimming back to the south.
Okay. He dives under the water, and you said swim back south as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
So, yeah, he swims out this way. So just give me, as you pass through that difficult bit where the rocks are causing the cross current, if you could just give me another swim and roll. Target number's still only 7, though. If you fail, you just get battered off the side of the rock, that's all.
Passed.
Okay, give us a roll for Roger as well, please. Okay, so Roger has a little bit more difficulty, but manages to avoid being smashed off some of the rocks are submerged as well, so manages to avoid being smashed off the rocks, but does get tumbled about a little bit. It's almost like a human trying to walk in very high winds. You know, you're not going to get picked up and thrown across the street, but you're getting kind of barreled about a bit more than you'd.
Yeah, typical day in Thaldron.
Yes.
Stanley High Street.
So, what are you doing now you've swum off a bit?
Head back to the west, back to the group, and report back. We come back prepped. They know that we're here, so they may very well come to us. Either way, we couldn't push any further forward.
Okay. So you've headed back to the group, and that's what you've warned the rest of them. What would you like to do?
Is that only the one cave?
That was the first cave, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to take a peep in the second one?
Yeah.
I think that question was for you, Patrick.
And I was muted as I answered. The caves were linked.
The were
Right.
linked. You spotted that, huh?
Okay.
Yeah, there was a way off to the east,
Mhm.
so that those caves will link up. If we go and look in any of those, there's probably going to be more bandits or pirates or whatever they are. They're going to have a presence throughout the entire area. If we go in for a fight.
You don't know that they're actually actively hostile. What if, right? They're actually shipwreck people that are like taking shelter in the caves. We didn't see any big boats. We haven't seen any ships.
I like big boats and I cannot lie.
Right?
You other sailors can't deny.
Yeah. So what happens if they're actually just there defending themselves from pirates? They might not be bad people, but they're sat waiting. I mean, they didn't shout any warnings. They didn't say anything.
No, they were getting into an ambush position. They didn't attempt to
Unless
communicate.
they thought they were being ambushed themselves.
Yeah.
Like if they're frightened, you know, that could be just them being a bit defensive because they don't know who you are.
Well,
We're in a hostile place.
mm,
Yeah, but
We're in a hostile place where there is something on the island already making people act their worst. What if theirs is paranoia?
right. So we're giving these people the benefit of the doubt.
Yes, why not?
All right.
I'm not saying they're good
Yeah,
people.
like,
I'm saying we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know, and it would suck if we went in old
We
guns
have to
blazing and
we
then
have to
just,
make
like,
that
our pockets were full of
compromise.
Well,
our
when
pockets
I
were full
say
of bastard rollings, you know?
if we go in, we go in for a fight, ready for a fight.
Yeah, but you've only had a look in that first cave, and
True.
there's 3 or 4 people in there.
Right. What I
Right.
suggest we do then, can we get up onto the top of the cliff and shout down into the cave opening to open up a line of communication?
Well, why not look in the other caves first? Know what you're up against. Maybe there's a secret way to get from one of those caves up into the rocks somewhere. It would seem very silly to make it so that the only way out is directly through the front. There's no escape route. You're pinned in.
What you're assuming there goes against the shipwrecked concept.
No, not necessarily.
Go on.
Right? Maybe they've made a base in those caves and they have an escape route out.
You thinking they've been there for some time?
Established a base as such, so they got shipwrecked onto the island and decided to inhabit those caves.
It didn't look particularly lived in, other than a campfire and a small boat.
Yeah. Perhaps they're survivors, I don't know.
Yeah.
A campfire which they immediately put out when.
Yeah, that would track with the idea that they might be a bit paranoid, because if they've been attacked by someone else on the island.
Yes. I'm quite interested in looking for the other end of the escape route and using it as a potential way in.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? Back up the cliff and look around for any opening in the ground.
Well, there's some broken terrain there.
Yeah.
It's quite possible that there's some sort of connection.
Right, back, sorry.
But I would like to know what was in the other 2 caves. That would also be a thing.
Mhm.
How do you know in that middle cave they haven't got a boat ready rigged to sail?
So you want further reconnaissance?
That's what I would go for at this point. In whatever we do, We don't know the situation.
Yeah.
Assuming
Right.
that they're openly hostile, they didn't shoot at you. They just took up positions
Bearing
to
in
defend
mind,
themselves.
and do tell me if this is too meta, it was only by merit of my sharp eyes that I saw them as early as I did, before they did anything. The sign language they were communicating, Bryan,
Yeah.
did it look aggressive, like shoot now?
Well, it's kind of standard sign language amongst sailors, I suppose. So,
Oh, great.
So a lot of communications on board a ship, you would use both visual cues and voice, depending on conditions. So you couldn't see it entirely clearly, so I'm going to ask for some kind of dice roll to see if you understood the bits you saw. I'm just trying to decide whether it should be a communications-based dice roll or a perception-based dice roll. I think I'm going to go with communications.
Okay.
So give me a communications... I don't know, straight communications will do, unless you've got a focus for it you think would be helpful.
I've only got persuasion, which I don't think would be appropriate.
I don't think it would, no. Okay. Okay, so you scored a 10. Give me a roll for Roger as well, please.
Yep.
$13. Okay. You didn't really see enough of it, but Roger had more of a vantage point and recognised that they appeared to be warning each other of approaching people. They certainly didn't say anything like attack or shoot or anything like that, but there did seem to be a bit of a warning in there. It seemed they were extremely cautious about you, and Roger's not positive, but he thinks he detected them saying something about possible pirates.
Right. I don't know if it's too late at this point, but on my original perception test for seeing them in the cave, I did get 6 points of stunts. Can I spend those at all?
Yes, I will let you spend those. Now
Right.
that you're thinking about it in retrospect, and Roger's telling you bits that fill in gaps you didn't see, I'll say you can apply those 10 points, those 6 points of stunts. I don't know why I've got 10 from there all of a sudden. 6 points of stunts.
Did I recognise them? Did they look hostile? Where are they from? Do they look well nourished?
They look relatively well nourished, yes, especially the big guy. They were all human. Beyond that, difficult to say. Alden, maybe, from what little you saw of the attire.
Could I ask a question here?
Right.
How familiar or how well had we seen the other members or crews of the other ships?
Not that well, really. So you might have mixed occasionally while you were loading the ships in, but you wouldn't be entirely familiar with every other member of the crews.
So none of them were recognisable as crew members from any of the other ships, is what I'm saying, like the Diamantina.
I mean, there could be members of the Diamantina. You wouldn't be familiar enough with their crew to recognise every member.
Right, okay.
And they specifically mentioned...
wasn't there, though.
Sorry, say that again?
Our captain wasn't there, though.
Your captain was not there, no.
Okay.
They specifically mentioned pirates.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to jump from a piece of gym equipment to another piece of gym without touching the ground. Yeah.
Chase tag, they call it now, but yeah.
Parkour.
And it's an actual sport, played mostly by people who are big into parkour.
I did wonder what on earth you were on about there. Did it used to be called pirates?
It did used to be called pirates, yeah.
Okay, because I know it as the floor is lava.
Right, yes, okay, that was a term quite popular in American high schools and stuff, but in British schools, when Shaun and I went to school, you called it pirates. Yeah.
There were 3 or 4 people had like coloured bands on, who would wear like a coloured band and they chase the others around, tag you.
That's right, and when you were tagged, you were out. Very, very much like modern chase tag. Used to be one of my favourite things in PE, that did.
Catchy kissy, but without the kissy.
Well, that's taking the shine off it a
that was
bit.
an outdoor spot.
Okay, so what's happening anyway? Back to the game.
Right. Do we want to at this point go and parlay with them? Is my question.
I think that's a very good idea because the more you've talked about it, the more convinced I am. If we get up onto this point here and shout down, can we sort of shout into the cave? Are they liable to hear us?
Difficult to say because there's a lot of noise from the surf crashing off the
surf,
yeah.
Right.
Hello, don't worry, we're safe.
Yeah.
Is there a universal I'm waving a white flag?
Yes, there'll be something very similar. Yeah.
Oh, could we attempt psychic contact?
Possibly. Let me just bring the rules up.
This is going to be difficult then.
Yes. I'm
Don't
pretty
know the
sure
people.
it will be because you don't know them.
I
I
can't
could
see them.
I could swim in with Myval, and Myval is like my seeing third eye assistant's raccoon.
Your assistant raccoon. Of course, yes.
Okay, but now I'm imagining a raccoon in a really weird diamante dress, like a 70s magician's assistant.
Okay,
You're gonna like it, but not a lot.
contact.
I'm the Great Soprendo, and this is my feral assistant.
Modified by familiarity. If the subject is unwilling or has psychic shield in place, you have to make a separate test to overcome those. Okay, so I need to find this little charty thing.
It's at the top end of the magic section.
Okay.
It's very spread out and it's poorly organised in Blue Rose. This bit.
Yeah. You don't have a page number to hand, do you?
I'll have to find it. Hold on. Arcana. Page 90. Page 91.
Page 91. Excellent. Yeah, so quite a long distance away from the spell that needs it. Although I suppose there's an entire Arcana that needs it, but again, it's quite a distance from it.
No, because it's applicable to multiple. There's different disciplines.
Right. Yeah.
And psychic contact is on that page 91 as well.
Okay. So it is. Yeah.
Yeah. The problem with it is, I couldn't do it from outside the cave because I don't know the people and I can't see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
But I have it. So if I go in the cave, I could, I guess, if I can see them.
If you can see them, you can do it.
Yeah.
A subject totally unfamiliar and unknown to the adept and out of the adept's line of sight or physical contact cannot be. But if you were seeing them,
if it's present, it's a 0 modifier.
Yes, it is. Also, from here, you've had them described to you. So a subject the adept has only seen briefly or had described in detail. They've not been able to describe them in detail. Yeah. So yeah, you're gonna have to take Myval in there. Then there will
there's a big guy. There's another one with a top knot. One of them's an archer.
Yeah, that's not detail.
That's the detail.
That's the level of detail you were able to provide. Whereas Myval would need a lot more detail to be able to use psychic contact.
Right.
They had a man bud. Wow, that narrows it down.
David Beckham.
David Beckham, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to take you back over there.
I work with.
Is anybody else going, or is it just the two that already went and Myval?
We're coming back with reinforcements, and it's a raccoon.
I would suggest you take cover behind this rock.
That's exactly what I was thinking myself, Shaun. Yes.
Okay, well, move yourself to where you're going to be, and then I'll drop Myval in with you.
Is this guy likely to have line of sight to behind this rock?
I didn't see which guy or which rock.
So this guy.
Yep.
And this rock. So Thinking about
If you're right up
hiding behind
tight,
it.
you'll be in
Yeah.
cover. He can
That's
see
exactly what we'll
over
do.
it, but he would. There's a meter defilade behind.
Yes.
Oh,
And thanks to you, I now know what that word means.
excellent.
Right.
Have you never seen Thingy? Let's think now. Saving Private Ryan. It comes up in that.
I've seen it once,
Right.
but so often is the case. If you hear a term you don't understand,
You
in
just
a
gloss
film,
over it. Yeah.
exactly, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Or you might have think you misheard, and then you interpret it as something you do understand.
Of course. Yes. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. So you're going to be in there, and Myval is joining you presently. There you go.
Now,
Hey.
do you think it's
Raccoon.
advisable to shout a greeting first?
Arr.
That is not a wise greeting when you're reading about pirates.
Parley?
Yeah. When it's time to parley, we will always parley hard.
Oh dear.
There's
Well,
a turtle again.
It is, yeah. Well, you could do, but it's entirely up to you. So we'll need a decision.
It's up to you guys, because I'm not.
Okay.
Well, I can't say anything to them if I don't psychic contact. So if anyone's saying hello, it has to be you or Roger.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
Otherwise, it comes out as.
Oh, I know who has to say it in practical terms, in mechanical terms. I'm asking,
Should you?
What do we think about, should I do it?
Yes,
could
do it.
be. It could be.
Do it.
Right, okay.
Because it gives away your position. It shows that if you were attempting to attack them,
Mhm.
you're basically talking first.
Greetings.
Could be putting them off, but
You just stay where you are. There's a lot of us, and
Yes,
we're all armed.
my name is Anemone. I'm a junior officer.
You're an enemy. Thunk.
Oh,
I'm actually going to make a willpower
my name is
roll.
Anemone.
I'm actually going to make a willpower roll to see just how jittery he is before.
Oh
he,
my god.
Um,
Are these people speaking English?
yes, but you did
The only
just say
language in
I'm
which-
an enemy.
I didn't say I'm an enemy. I said my name is an enemy.
Oh, I see what you mean. Right, yeah. So your argument is that it might not be a phoneme in whatever language
Precisely so.
in
yes.
Alden.
Yes.
That's a possibility. That's a possibility. So I'll decrease the difficulty. So I'll tell you what. If he rolls under 7, he panics and fires when you say an enemy. An enemy, rather. Oh shit.
Oh my god.
Okay, so he's panicked and he's fired. He's actually armed with a crossbow. It says sling here, but the chance to hit would be the same. You have 3 points of cover,
Yeah.
which means his 15 would only hit somebody with a defense of 12 or lower. So what's your defense?
Hang on. Let's have a look. Change my bloody name after
Oh
this.
my god.
Defense of 13.
That's okay, so it's missed. It's hit the rock. Missed the rock. Chips of rock have gone off. And you hear like a voice from further away going, "What's going on? He's just said he's an enemy." And
No,
you hear somebody else
that's
has
my
gone, "No,
name.
an
It's a
enemy."
It's a sea folk name, you racist twat.
We're here to help you. Please don't resist.
If you'd listen, I'm a junior officer aboard a Majesty's Chanterelle.
You're from the
To whom
Chanterelle.
To whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?
I'm Davich. I'm from.
He said he was a witch. Get him.
I'm Davich.
How
I'm
do you
from
like
the
it?
Diamantina.
Ah, right. Okay. Well, we've rescued some of your shipmates.
How do we know they're not pirates? He did say he was an enemy. No, he said he was an enemy. That's what I said. He said he was an enemy.
Is there anyone brighter I can speak to?
No.
do your psychic contact thing.
I'm good. Hang on. Please don't fail.
Did you use your empty head as a buoyancy aid? To get the ship?
even happened there?
You rolled a 10,
Okay.
right? So
Yeah.
you needed to beat the 7.
You did. You
Okay.
needed.
Hey!
Okay,
Somebody talk to
so
him.
you're in psychic contact with this guy now.
Hello!
Hello?
Right. Firstly, he didn't say he was an enemy. He said his name is Anemone. You know, like those bitey fish things that taste bad.
I have no idea what they taste like.
Well, you haven't lived. Also, wouldn't recommend.
Well,
Anyway, we're here to help. We're not trying to attack you unless you're going to attack us. We don't care about your stupid haircut. We're here to help.
don't care about your stupid haircut.
By the way, it sticks out from the top of that rock. Bad cover, bad, honestly.
What? I'm not taking satirical advice from a squirrel.
Excuse me?
Can they see Myval from there?
Well, since she can only do the psychic thing with if
Sight,
she has
gotta be looking.
line of sight, then yeah, she just had to scramble up. In fact, you're probably scrambled up on this rock here to look at the.
Scrambled straight off the other side.
Into the water.
Scrambled legs now.
You hear somebody else go, "What's going on?" And the guy on the archer says, "I'm being abused by a squirrel."
A raccoon!
Oh, it says it's a
Right.
raccoon.
Squirrel!
So hang on.
How do you confuse a raccoon and a squirrel?
Squirrels are little things and bad.
Oh, I don't know. I've never seen either one before. I've just had them described.
Was I capable of hearing that exchange that just went on?
No.
Right. So, but I can hear them saying, "What's going on? I'm being abused by a squirrel."
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Me moving my little arms like an annoyed Italian.
I now use words 1 syllable.
I think this
Please.
one's had a knock on the head.
Calm down. Not enemy. Not squirrel.
Yeah,
Majesty
apparently it's a raccoon.
Chanterelle.
They say they're from the Majesty's Chanterelle. Right, tell them we're from the Diamantina. You literally
Yes,
heard
yes,
me
we've-
tell them
we've
that.
established that. Right. Would you like to be rescued?
Obviously.
We're not
Not
rats.
obviously when you're firing bolts at people.
Well, they did say you were an enemy.
We've moved past that.
We're friends. Tell them we're friends.
Make your mind up. No, he's not going to say that bit. Well, come on in then. But one false move.
What do you consider to be a false move?
Well, you know, the usual sorts of things. Shooting at people, stabbing folks, trying to
Oh.
grab them.
So what you just did to us was a false move. Okay, that was a good example.
Yeah, that was a good example. So none of that.
Right, okay. So the three of us, this terrible invading force of three of us, one of whom's a raccoon, are coming in now.
Is that the squirrel?
Not a squirrel!
Are you sure there's no one else I can speak to?
You can come down and speak to the others if you want.
Make your way to the shore then.
Meanwhile, there's a very judgmental turtle bobbing around here looking at you all.
What are you looking at?
Myval's thinking soup.
No, turtles are friends, not food. Good
Are
God,
they
those starfish are massive.
They are big starfish, yes. Big and potentially dangerous.
Avoiding the starfish.
Yes, I'm going to say they are large enough that you can avoid them.
Avoid the starfish they eat with their butts.
That's a thing I wish I didn't know, but okay. Okay, so as you come round, you can see these 3 members of the Chanterelle's crew. Diamantina's crew, sorry, yes. Step out from behind. So you've got this big bloke here. The guy you were talking to with the top knot there. The other top knotty person turns out not to have a top knot or be a man at all, so it's not a man bun. It's a female sailor with her hair's tied back, kind of loosely. And from where Myval is, you can't see anything, apparently. So,
Everybody stay back. And I'll put my hand out to shake hands and go, as you'll see, I'm not a squirrel.
that's definitely a raccoon. I don't know whether it's a raccoon. I've never seen either a raccoon or a squirrel. I was just going for
Doesn't
descriptions.
matter whether it's a raccoon or a squirrel. Right?
can-
How long have you been here?
Uh,
How many of your own crew have you had eaten? You should eaten the brains.
Eating?
Right.
We haven't had to eat any. We've only been here a few days. What kind of maniacs are you? You start eating your crew. They start backing off.
Oh my god.
These guys start eating their crew after 2 days.
Only if they ask nicely. Right, now, why don't we get into your boat over there? We'll go and meet up with the rest of it. How many more do you have here? Is it just the 3 of you?
Just the 3.
Just the 3 of you. Right. How many people does the boat carry?
The boat will carry. Well, that's one of the smaller launchers. So it would carry. It's still a bit too small, actually. I need to expand that. That's closer to a ship's launch there. You'd get 4 or 5 people in there. The push.
Well,
So a Chester raccoon and 3 landlubbers
Yes.
rather than sea folk. Yeah, I've not called them landlubbers, but
Yeah.
can we get all that we see here into that? If we can't, the sea folk will swim.
The sea folk might need to swim. Yeah.
That's fine.
Especially as these guys have found this chest.
Right. Ah, you found that here.
Yes. Yes.
Have you opened it?
No, they haven't.
Do you mind if we open it and have a look?
I mean, they don't mind. They just want you to be aware that they found it. They'll quite happily share anything that's in it with them.
Well, there's some very specific things that we're looking for. We're here on a mission looking for our captain and investigating this place. So any assistance that you render to us is, in the name of the Queen.
Yeah, you're welcome to take a look inside. We'll share whatever's in there. Pretty sure it's not going to be a captain, though. It looks a bit small.
It was only a little bloke. Let's have a look.
Okay, so the reason they haven't opened it is because they've been more... I mean, they're interested, but they've been more concerned with kind of staying alive at this point. None of them were particularly good at picking locks, and they didn't want to damage the chest, which is itself quite a...
Let's be more accurate. The reason they haven't opened it is because they're not gamers.
Yeah, straight in.
right. So
And actually, they've only just found it not long before you came, because one of them tripped over it. Was buried in the sand.
Oh, I'm sure that's the way they find anything that they find. It's the only way that they can find things.
Let me ask
You're the one that told them that you were an enemy.
Yes, I absolutely massively regret choosing that name for my character in the House of Puns.
Who's responsible for the puns now? Who started with the puns?
All of us. All of us.
You could have been one of those poor sea folk children, and you would have been a sea urchin.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to need a dexterity lockpicking roll on that one, please.
I don't have lockpicking specifically, but I do have the thievery talent.
Right, okay. Let me just check if that's because between different versions of the age system, the skill sometimes changes terms, doesn't it? So
the thievery talent literally says you don't let locks stand in your way.
Right, I think that allows you a second roll
Yeah, it
if the
gives me a
first roll
reroll
fails,
if
doesn't
the
it?
first one fails.
Yeah.
You don't let the luck stand in your way, you step around them
Yes.
and carry on.
Okay,
Just
give me a
dex
roll.
then, yeah.
Yeah, just a dex roll.
It means you
14.
just sail straight through them.
Easily managed to unlock that. You unlock it, but what you find is at the bottom of the chest is a strangely shaped piece of metal.
That's what we're after.
Yeah. On top of it is a bag of coins. When you open the coins, you can't recognize them as from any kingdom you've ever seen. Well, you've never seen coins like this. So they're not from any kingdom you're familiar with the currency of. Let's put it that way.
Right. So you said you'll split the contents with us.
Yeah.
I take out the coins, count them out in front of them. There's your half. There's this half. Can we have the chest?
Yes, you can have the chest.
Picking up the chest with the piece in it.
Okay, so you've got 10 gold coins, but mark them on your character sheet as 10 mysterious gold coins.
I am hoarding all of those to myself.
Mysterious
Right,
coin.
you are leaning
Now you
into
look
your
like a
negative
skeleton
side
in the
there.
moonlight.
Yes.
Oh, pieces of it.
Yes. Okay, so
But there's 10 of them.
Yes, there's 10 of them. 10 pieces of 8.
I did know the reason they were called that at one point. I'm sure you'll know, Bryan.
I also used to know the reason, but I can't put my finger on it at the moment.
Do you
Does
know
it lot
what?
to do with the amount of
that-
silver?
That sounds like a plot hook. We both know that there's a reason for something, but neither of us
It's
can
to do with
remember.
cutting money.
Yes, that's good. Yeah, that would make a good plot hook. Yeah.
No, it's to do with the value of the coin.
It's cutting money.
Okay, I'm just going
Spanish
to.
dollar equivalent to 8 reals.
There's normally a way of adding bits and pieces on the end of the sheet. What do I need to have active to do that?
You go into
Is it equipment?
You could do it that way.
It's equipment. It's equipment. Right. Yeah. For some reason, asking the question just focused my mind on finding what it was I was after.
You could put it under your character notes on a persona page if you wanted to.
And there's a currency section as well. That's the other thing I'm after. It's amazing how you take these things for granted on the other sheet.
Also, I'll tell you what, the number of things I've forgotten how to do in the month or so since we last gamed is startling. I mean, obviously, I've had a lot on my mind with my mother's illness, which is probably part of it.
Yeah,
but
you've been through multiple doorways as well.
Well, quite, yeah. But yeah, it is kind of surprising just how much I like. What does that do? How do I do that? What's this button for? What's the rule on that thing? Yeah, it's been a bit of a surprise.
Okay, so are we going to address the elephant in the room now?
You can do. He doesn't like being called an elephant. He's big boned, he says.
Right. So, how long have they been in this cave and have they explored this other passageway to the southeast?
A couple of days, and yes, they have. The exploration to the across the way didn't go too well. There used to be 6 of them, but 3 of them didn't get back from the other cave.
Oh.
What happened?
There are creatures in the water. They just like came out of the water. We didn't see them coming. We saw like a huge clam, and we thought you could eat for a week off of that. But when we went towards it, these creatures emerged from the water and attacked and killed 2 of the other crew outright. 1 was very badly injured, and they tried to save him but failed.
Right. What do these creatures look like?
They're kind of twice the size of the big man here. Sort of watery blue-green skin. Not entirely unlike your sea folk, but they're not sea folk. Skin colour's similar, but they're much bigger.
Oh, those sea ogres.
It does sound like that's what he's describing. Yes.
Yes, we did. He says
Says the
we
ogres.
saw ogres.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Mm.
Are we saying that you're communicating through Myval at this point?
Well, that would be potentially one way of doing it.
Or are you being young Roger?
Probably if I'm young Roger, it makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so sounds like sea ogres. Let's get everything in the little boat and let's get back to the shore.
Yeah, I see no reason to go to the other two caves unless there's something they're protecting in there.
Well, they seem to be offended by the idea that we approached one of the giant clams.
Ah.
Pearls before swine.
Pearls
Yeah,
before
no, I think
swine.
you tried to eat its pet.
Could be, or food source, perhaps.
Skyrim giants defending their mammoths.
Yeah, but I will just point something out because it has been a month since we last played due to the unforeseen circumstances.
Yeah.
So I will just repeat a word that Shaun used, and I will place some stress on it. See if it pings anybody's memory.
Pearl.
Pearls.
There's the ones missing from the temple.
Yes.
Replacement pearls.
You were actually looking for giant clams.
Yes. That's of course we were. Yes. Right. Shit.
So into the cave of the dangerous beast is it? Is there?
No, we have
You
a
can
boat.
just feel the hand in your back. Sure.
We now have a boat.
You
We
do.
have other people.
Mm.
You do. Yeah.
So get the chest. Get the people. I mean, this cave, is it safe in here? How high does the water come? What happens if it was actually to be a high tide? Would it hit the back of the cave? Because I take it that's water eroded.
It is water eroded, but it hasn't hit the back of the cave for quite some time because the sand there is dry.
Dry.
You can, if you have a look at the map itself, you'll notice the colour grading of the sand into the water. So at the moment, the blue bit is where the tide line is, but the darker brown is where it gets up to.
Right.
So it hasn't hit the back of the cave in a long time, so something's changed about the... Because obviously, as you say, it was originally eroded by water, so obviously it used to get that far back. But it clearly hasn't done for a long time. That long time might just mean a week, though, to be fair, a week or two.
It could be a storm would hit the back of the cave and flood it out.
You think that's exactly what it is. In the stronger weathers, it causes it to come in a bit deeper. But it seems like there is actually a tide line on the back of the cave, but it's old. So you don't think the water's hit that far back for months.
And there's been some dried driftwood, obviously, in this cave for them to light a fire.
Correct, yes. There's even a large piece of it over here.
Yeah, flotsam.
Yeah.
What rank are these guys?
Able seaman.
And we're junior officers, so effectively they're subordinates.
Yes, that's right.
Right. What is the standing rules with crew of another ship and, you know, their sort of hierarchy and under their captain in this situation being commandeered sort of from one ship to another?
Oh yeah, you would definitely have precedence over them. You definitely have a higher rank and status than them. You could certainly give them orders.
And what's the likelihood of them actually following those orders in this situation?
Oh, quite good. Yeah.
Right, okay. So it isn't like they've gone rogue or anything, or they're not going to pay any attention to us because we're sea folk, or...
No. It's just that when...
And the squirrel, apparently.
Yes. Yeah. Right, in which case, gather your things, launch that boat, we'll head back to the rest of our party, and then we'll put together a group ready to go and take a look at these giant clams.
Okay. Okay. I'm just try and fuck off. Let's try and move this over here. To there. So when you say going back to the rest of you, oh yes, of course, because
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the sea folk can swim.
And you can put the chest in the boat.
Put the chest in the boat. Yeah.
I'm like
Take
standing
it
on the
they have
prow, like,
oars.
They do have oars, yes.
They didn't burn the oars.
They didn't. No.
Right. I'll take that piece out and pocket it.
Right. Okay. So I've already been on the appropriate map and tagged it. So that what I've done now is that the pieces on that door map, you now only have the ability to move the ones you actually have found. I've taken the control off all the others.
Okay. Is that just a rocky outcrop there?
Will I pan out enough to find out?
Or driftwood?
Ping it again. That's driftwood.
Okay, right.
standing on the front of the boat, like Reaper Cheap on the front of the Dawn Treader here.
Right.
Hand it off!
Okay. Copy that lot. And you head back to collect Thaldron. Thaldron, you see this boat emerge from the cave with, well, you can clearly see Myval standing on the front, sort of excitedly pointing at you. There's definitely more people in that boat than went into that cave. There's about 3 strangers heading towards you on the boat.
Okay.
Okay, so you all meet up again. You explain to everybody what's happened. You introduce Thaldron to everyone else and everyone else to Thaldron. You explain who these people are and what you found out about the second cave. What would you like to do?
Give them a bit of time to rest, decent meal. Then put together a well-armed thieving party.
Okay.
Effectively.
Okay, so you're putting your little crew together, and I'm going to drag you over to the next map.
Right. The way I'd like to approach this, everyone, if the one that we actually go for is, let's say, over here, but the one we make it look like we're going for is over here. One of us causes a distraction.
Hold on. Right. I thought the idea was we were going to land in the other cave and go through the passage.
Oh.
You
could do.
So we'd be coming in over here. It makes more tactical sense to come in on the dry land if they're in the water. Otherwise, we're in a boat on the water and they can just tip us over.
Sure.
Capsizes.
Well,
we'll be in the water.
A combination of the two could fit in with what I was saying.
So you think we should clatter through the cave while you and young Roger swim around?
I think, well, first of all, I'm suspecting, and Bryan, if I could possibly have some manner of insight to this as a sea folk,
Yes.
discussing it with young Roger,
Uh-huh.
Do those Merrow react to these things being prized open? I.e., do these things give off some sort of signal, pheromone, sound, which would then attract the Merrow?
Okay, so you've never heard of that specific thing happening. You've never really heard of Merrow hanging out quite so much with these things either, in all honesty. But you are aware that clams have a very poor, very weak defense mechanism, which is also tied to how they move, which is that they can force water out at something that attacks them or that they're startled by. So they kind of
Hold on.
squirt it in the face with high pressure jet. Yeah. Now, in water, they use that as a form of propulsion as well.
Yeah.
But they can also use it as a form of defense. It has the combined effect of like hitting you like a weak punch, whilst
Yes.
also propelling them away from you. You're curious in your mind as to whether them doing that might be attracting the Merrow, or whether it's just movement in their waters are attracting the Merrow. You don't really know.
Right. I've thought of something else. Just having that time to consider.
Mhm.
The crew of the Diamantina said that the Merrow held them sacred.
Right, yeah.
Is
Are
that,
they,
was,
like,
was that
farming them?
Sorry?
Is this like a giant clam farm?
I think it's more than that. There's a connection. The Merrow consider these to be sacred. Let's take that as being read. And the water temple was making use of these things as well. These are creatures of the sea. These are creatures of the Lord of the Sea, whose name escapes me. Now, if these are to be used in his temple, they should be given freely by the creatures of the sea, not stolen. These Merrow are appointed guardians for these stones. And I don't think that we can morally steal from them or harm them without causing offence to the Sea Lord.
Fair enough. So if we
I'm
ask
going
for
to
them,
pray.
Okay.
if we ask for them, maybe
Yeah.
they'll
Yes.
give them up, or maybe even I don't know, Ada's getting them back to the temple.
That's what I'm thinking. Yes, I'm going to pray first of all for any manner of divine insight. Using the pendant that I found outside the temple on the seafloor.
Okay. Right, you are. I'll give you a bonus for this because of the way you're doing it, but give me a law skill of some description. So that's going to be intelligence, law.
Religion, probably.
Yeah, let's go with religion.
I do not have it. Can I do flat intelligence?
Yes, you can. Okay. I'm going to give you +1 for the 8th height. Right, 17. Okay. It's possible. What you've described is possible. You were not aware of ogres of any kind being particularly religious. You are aware that they're normally considered monstrous, but they do have near human intelligence. So they're about as intelligent as a human youth. They're also... Well, people often describe them as cannibals, but that's not strictly true because Merrow don't eat other Merrow. They eat humans. Yes.
Their flesh is a delicacy.
Yes. And they eat certain human-like species. They don't generally... So, no, they do. Okay, they do generally eat sea folk. The Merrow certainly do generally eat sea folk and humans. Vataan, not so much. So, but you're not aware of them being renowned as having a religion.
Right. Okay.
That doesn't mean they don't.
Yes.
It just means that your culture's not really aware of them, which means they might not, or you guys might just not know as much about them as you think you do. Not sure
Right.
which.
The other thing, I stunted really well with the water elemental.
Yes, you did.
I got the stunt of getting him to go and put a good word in for us, like within his sphere of influence.
You did, yeah.
Right. Begging the indulgence of the group, I can go and make some manner of speech on the beach and
Speech on the beach, huh?
Speech on the beach, and see if any good comes of it. If it doesn't, then we can revert to plan A, which is a distraction. Well, you'll have your distraction because I'll be on the beach making a huge racket, at which point you can take hold of one of the oysters, clams?
Yeah.
Clams. Grab one of those and prise it open or drag it off, whatever, yeah?
Okay.
What do we reckon?
Try not to get eaten.
Always. Priority
Right.
1, folks.
So how are we doing this in this cave? Are we coming in from the western side on land?
You can.
Makes more sense to park the boat up in the other cave and go through that side passage.
And use it as a means of escape at the other end.
Yeah.
I would assume, I don't know if I've ever seen a Merrow, but I would assume that they're probably faster in the water than they are on land.
That's very correct, yes.
Yeah. So, however you're going to chase them, or if they're going to chase you, sorry, park the boat at the far end, run to it across the land. If they've only got the intelligence of a human youth, they'll straight line after you, slowly, across the land. You get to the boat, and then launch off, and then they've got that extra space to traverse across the water, giving you a bit of a head start. Are you following me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. In which case, I'm going to approach this beach via the water, via the element of the Sea Lord.
Okay. Okay, just if you want to move your characters to whichever entrance you're actually going to be appearing in.
I would if I had control of them.
Right, okay. I'll come and sort that. Just filling this out. Oh shit. Okay.
And are the 3 people that we found, are they coming with us? Do they want to come
Yes, they'll come. Well, I mean, they'll come with you if you tell them to.
Yeah.
They might be interested in, I don't know, the revenge element potentially, or that side of it, rather than take the other crew members off the beach. Depends which way you want to go. Maybe we can recover the dead.
Yeah.
Or something of them.
I think the dead have been eaten.
Yeah, probably. To be fair.
You might get the bones back. That's about it.
Soup. 2 soups.
2
I think
soups.
it's technically broth when it's made from bones.
It might be, but then the joke doesn't work.
2
soups. No. Yeah, exactly. Which, if you're not
broth
familiar with your
and
classic, if you're not familiar with your classic English comedy or British comedy, that won't make any sense to you at all. But if you are familiar with that famous sketch with Julie Walters on the
Hollywood show.
Joke, yes. Yeah.
Also, apparently, the difference between a soup and a broth is nothing to do with bones.
Is it not?
A broth is clear and can be used as the base of a different soup or a stew.
All right,
Well, thank you
okay.
very much. Did not know that.
Not
No.
clear.
So how does that resolve with the stock then?
Welcome to Cooking with Gamers.
I like food. That's why I
Same.
like characters that like food so much.
You can't be
I mean,
clamped in a broth.
Lot
Yeah.
of knowledge when it comes to food. Trust me.
Okay, Shaun, you should now have control of your thing.
The thing is, it is also very pertinent to gamers. How many high fantasy or any kind of fantasy role playing will take place without there being a hearty soup or a hearty stew?
Well, that's true, yeah.
A lemon cake.
Also, I don't know if you know, but there are certain games where you can actually get the not the menus, the recipes of some of the common.
Yeah.
Yeah, RuneQuest used to have an entire cookbook for the different kind of creatures you could encounter.
I have
Discworld,
on my
Nanny
wish-
Yogg's cookbook.
I
Yeah,
have a cookbook book on my wish list called Heroes Feast.
All right, yes, I've seen that.
It's one of the crafting things in Elder Scrolls Online.
Is it?
Make it, yeah. You collect recipes and you make better stuff, and it gives you stamina boost, etc.
Right, okay, so now I know roughly where everybody's approaching. You enter the
I was going to have the
second...
boat guys with us up the top,
Oh, you can have them
but I
up
can't move them.
there with you. Right, you are. Okie dokie. So, entering this cave, which is possibly even larger than the last one, although technically it's not a single cave, it's two separate ones. So you've got the eastern side as one, and then you've got these structures here go all the way up to the top, forming sort of a second cave over here. So this entry point is actually the one that's the smaller cave on the island map. And this entry point is actually almost entirely submerged. So you currently have an enemy is wading through the water at that point. It's not that deep. So you're kind of wading through it. You can see several of these clams or some form of bivalve. They are massive. You could fit a person inside one of them. They're huge.
How many pearls did we need?
Can't remember. About 4, I think.
Right. I'm going to ask for the number that we counted that we needed.
Okay.
So, just for ease of bookkeeping, it is the number equal to what my character would remember.
Right, okay.
Yep. Okay.
Right, so you're on the... Well, you're not quite on the beach. You're kind of wading about waist high there. Maybe thigh high. Where you're standing at the moment. So what exactly is it that you're doing?
Okay, first thing I'm going to do is to mark out the symbol. Mark out the symbol of... Oh, God. Mark out the symbol of Galanea in the ground quite rapidly at this point. And say, Mighty Galanea, blessed Sea Lord, he who is the great sage and reveals knowledge to those who seek. In your name, we beg the indulgence of these blessed creatures around us for four of their pearls, that his temple might be repaired and brought back to its former glory.
Okay. As you say that, you see a disturbance in the water, some kind of churning sensation, and this huge, vaguely humanoid but extremely ugly thing sort of emerges from the water. It's got big, wicked-looking claws where its fingernails should be. It's got fangs where its teeth would... Tusks would almost be a better description, where its teeth should be. And its hair looks like it's just seaweed, just grown from its scalp. The stench of kind of rotten seaweed is emanating off it as it emerges from the water, and it's looking straight at you.
My hands are out, empty, posing no threat. Blessed servants of Galanea, we beg your indulgence. Might we have 4 of the pearls that grow here? We enter respectfully and humbly to repair his great temple.
4 of our pearls at once. What think you then? This other one you suddenly spot coming down from up here.
Yeah.
What would it give us for 4 pearls for its petty god?
What would you ask of us?
I smell food.
We have food. We would offer it to you gratefully and humbly.
We will trade pearls for food.
Thank you.
You don't know what's going to eat.
I've got a fair idea, but I'm giving it a chance. It's what we do. It's the League of Lightwear, Company of Lightwear. Right. With your acceptance, I will go and get the food and bring it back.
Yes, it brings us food.
Okay. They mean people, don't they?
Yeah, they mean people.
Right. Okay. So if I come back with, rations, they're not going to
Snickers?
Yeah. Right. Okay.
You're not you when you're hungry.
Right. Okay. Right. Hang on. I didn't say when we'd do it.
True.
Did we burn all of those bodies of the pirates?
Well, you certainly aren't carrying them with you, if that's what you mean.
I know
pretty
we're not
sure
carrying
you will.
them, but as I say, we didn't say when we would bring the food. If those bodies are still there, we can go back, get them, and give them those.
I mean, that depends how the party feels. Also, of course, the chances of them, because you do know there are larger animals on the island, so the chances of any undisposed of bodies still being there and not having already been eaten by predatory animals pretty
It's
slender.
only been how long?
Day.
Well, yeah.
Surely.
You don't know what the land crabs are like, though.
At least one.
Yeah. Like, if there's crabs in general are pretty fast eaters.
Right.
Like giant crabs are, I would imagine.
We can at the very least check and see, and right, because we didn't say when it would happen, right? We've just made this offer and we've gone off to get food. Let's actually go, right? We'll go and we'll get food and we'll bring it back. Saying this quite audibly, right? Let's all just go. Let's go back to the other cave. We'll take our leave peacefully.
Why go anywhere? You have brought food. It points at like the various collection of people around you.
Much tastier food. Much tastier food worthy of you.
This food worthy of us. You can see the sailors from the Diamantina are kind of backing away. I don't think I like where this is going, guys.
Why didn't those Merrow come down this cave and finish them off?
You've no idea.
Let's get down the other side.
When you came up, you came past a partial blockage of rocks.
Right.
But you would imagine... Well, I don't know, because the Merrow are much, much bigger than you.
Yeah.
So where you had to clamber over some rocks to get to where you are, well, the humans did, you didn't. The Merrow might have found it difficult to get over them.
Right.
But you'd think they'd have had the strength to move some of the rocks if they particularly wanted to.
Yes,
they could also have swum round, of course. So
yeah.
You don't know is the answer.
Let's get down to the other cave, because we know from the days that they've been there, it's safe. At least it's safer than here. Let's do that right now. Okay. Into the boat. Let's set off. And if we can get some corpses, we'll come back with them. Make the offering. Make good on our promise. And get some pearls. Thoughts?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Is it an enemy half fairy?
Sorry, say again?
What?
Is an enemy half fairy? Because this seems very fair bargain.
I see what you mean. Yeah. It does a bit.
It's fair propaganda if I've ever heard it.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you return to the other cave. The Merrow kind of watch you hungrily, saliva dripping from their fangs, glaring at you all. One of them's kind of pointing at the large guy from the Diamantina. Much meat on this one. Just leave this one. Give you 2 pearls for this one.
Are they talking from the gap?
Well, this is
as we're
as
leaving.
you're leaving.
Ah, right. Okay. Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Let's set all.
Row your boat.
Come back. Come
Quickly
back
away
with
from them.
dinner.
We will. We're coming back for it.
We wish to just eat.
Like cook
available?
when you can just eat.
Yes. Okay, so you make it back to the other cave. Some of you, especially the crewmen, visibly shaken by the encounter with these quite creepy water creatures. You make it back to your boat and leave the cave behind, intending to go and find some undevoured corpses to give to the ogres, because that's not weird at all. So I'm going to take you back to the island map.
I've got another thought, actually.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if the same tradition exists in this world as did in ours, but do you know how they dealt with corpses on ships?
I assume they threw them overboard.
Not initially, they didn't.
Right.
They walled them up in the hull.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Like Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean 2 or whatever it is.
3, I think.
They would essentially just bury them as they would on land. They buried them behind bulkheads.
All right, okay. I know that some fairly senior naval officers who were killed were pickled
Yes.
Yes.
and in barrels
In
and then
brandy.
brought back. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a famous incident in the Battle of Trafalgar where one of the French captains had his arms and legs shot off
Uh-huh.
and sat in a barrel of brandy for an hour and a half, commanding,
Right.
before he died.
Bloody hell. Okay. Okay, so you
Stuff.
make
I think
it
it was French.
back to the beach and sort of clamber out of the boat. I suppose I should probably put another little boat marker on so we know that you've got a boat there as well. Just grab this.
Yeah, we'll
Copy.
say to the guys, okay, we're going to march over land and we're going to see if we can find some dead bodies. There's ogres in there. Now, if there were only 2 of them, I mean, how many did they encounter previously?
They remember encountering 3, but they're pretty sure they killed one of them.
Oh.
Right.
Oh yeah, the ogres didn't have it all their own way.
So we've got 2 ogres who are...
And they ate 3 crewmen.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they are not servants of the sea god, apparently.
Apparently not.
Yeah, they didn't seem overly reverential towards them, did they?
Not at all.
So my vote would be...
Ghost them forever. Find some more pearls somewhere else.
We've got 2 options. We could take everybody in, and we could go and just basically lay waste to them.
Storm
We
the
could.
place with the whole crew, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
You do have a feeling that's a fight that would probably go your way if you took like the whole crew in.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if you can get them on land, fire's probably something they're scared of.
Right. Are they actually creatures of the shadows?
No, I don't think so.
Right. Okay.
Let me just double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's not the...
Evil.
Well, they do appear in this section here. Let me just... actually... No, they're not. Not as such.
If we can get through this without a fight, isn't it worth doing?
See,
Do you
here's my
want to
dilemma.
fight?
Here's my dilemma. Do you know what my thing is?
What thing?
Whatever you've got your fate and your...
Oh, your vice or whatever.
Yeah, fate and destiny. Yeah.
So the destiny side of it is compromise.
Okay.
Have you been compromised?
No. But taking the middle path
Yeah.
would appear to be the way that I need to go here. So getting the corpses and not having a fight would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas acting against it, it's so hopeless that we're gonna have to fight them.
I would really struggle in a fight with water creatures, given that the only things I can do are biting and scratching, and I'm only little and I don't want to get in the water.
Yes.
We're not a particularly combat-heavy party.
No, we're
You're
not.
also not feeling the draw of your destiny quite as, or fate, I confused the two, of the more negative side of your personality quite as strongly as you were when you were further inland.
Makes sense. It's strongest outside the barrow, isn't it?
That was where it was strongest of all the places you've been so far, yes.
Yeah.
So in that case, then, are we going to trek across the land and go up the coast back to where we were ambushed? Oh, I've just made a big mistake. That one's supposed to happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go back to the last place where we know for a fact there were corpses.
Okay.
I hope there's something left.
Yes.
Okay, so it'll probably take you, because we did say it was about sort of midday, so this is not easy ground to traverse, so it'll probably take you the rest of the day to get back there, you'd think.
Okay. Wherever that was.
Yeah, I think it was up around about here-ish somewhere. Something like that. It was before you got to the barrow anyway, wasn't it? So, okay, you cross the... okay, that's a thing. Right, yes. You get back to where you cross the land back to where you think the ambush site happened. You're starting to recognise places quite distinctly. So let me just find the appropriate map. And as you're approaching, you don't see the immediate signs of any corpses remaining where you left them. What you do find is... Can't find the
Some more
friggin'
victims. I mean, ambushes. Pirates.
Yes, actually. You find a large number of pirates waiting for you. However, most of them don't have their weapons drawn. They're kind of standing there out in the open. One of them's got their arms crossed. And he kind of grins when he sees you coming. And you asked us earlier about the white flag. Right? They are holding a flag of parley.
Right, so don't forget, the last that they saw, I was brandishing a glowing sword and scaring 7 shades out of them, yeah?
Yes.
And I look vaguely rapid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's our attack raccoon.
Right, the guy that's grinning at you now yells, let me just get that straight in my head. Right. Ahoy! And well met, which comes as a bit of a surprise.
Okay. Are we supposed to be seeing the map where they are?
Oh, no, you're supposed to be seeing the main big
That's
map
what
at the moment.
That's what we've got, right, okay.
Okay.
So I'm just looking around the other maps to see which one I used.
Yeah, well,
I think you're kind of near the coast, aren't you?
I do believe the coast was to the south, if I'm correct.
Yep, I think therefore that it was probably... I've got 2 copies of this map. Yeah, I've found it. Okay, so I'm going to drag you over to it momentarily. I just need to clean it up a little bit. So you tell me what it is you're saying and doing and whatnot.
I see by your flag you wish to parley.
We have been
Wise.
instructed to parley, yes. Captain Aldea would like a word.
And where is
Oh
the
dear.
good captain?
It's not often she's called good. One of the other pirates kind of waggles his eyebrows a bit and says, well, it depends who you ask. If you were to ask Tusk, you might get a different answer. And like one of the other pirates, like slaps him across the face. That's our captain and our whatever the fuck task is that you're talking about there. You'll hold a civil tongue in your head or cut it right out.
Looks like Slappy's here.
Yes. The first pirate, the one that was doing the talk, and then says, "What was the question?" Where is the good captain? Well, the good captain be waiting for you in a stocky idiot. Dan. Well, probably best we don't tell you exactly where to find it, eh? I notice you've got a big ship full of armed bastards just off the coast. He points in roughly the direction of your big ship full of armed bastards.
Well, thank you for the invitation. We shall take her up on that at our convenience.
I rather think the captain was kind of meaning sort of
I'm sure she
nowish.
did. I'm sure she did.
Arr. One of the other pirates looks at him and says, "Really? Did you actually just say arr? You're an embarrassment. Do you know that?"
Shiver me timbers.
Yeah, shiver me timbers, you're an embarrassment when you play into those tropes like that.
Next thing you know, you'd be rogering the cabin. I mean, no.
They all kind of look a bit confused at one another, as if they're not used to people not doing exactly what they're told when the captain's name's invoked. And they're kind of at a bit of a loss. They're not really sure what to do about it.
What happened to the your compadres who made the error of facing off against us?
Well, when we got here, we sent some of the lads back with what bodies we could still find, but it seems like some of the local wildlife may have got here before we did.
Okay. Right, and your captain won't come and meet us on neutral ground.
Ah, you want to meet on neutral ground?
Not necessarily.
Where did you have in mind?
Oh, that would be so cruel.
What would
Hang
be?
on.
Well, there's a cave to the south.
In the cave. Yeah, down in the cave. Perfect. Let's do it. Yep.
They can't do that. They're trying to parley.
Okay. They all look at it.
See if they wipe out the ogres.
They all look at each other and go, "The ogre caves. You want us to meet you in the Merrow's own straits,
Yes.
do you?"
Kitchen,
Yes.
yes. The
Yeah,
ladder, yes.
that ain't gonna happen. Choose again. You must think our heads button up the back. You must.
You're brighter than you look. But of course,
One of the other pirates is like leaning up against a tree, cleaning his fingernails with the tip of his knife. He looks up when you say to the spokes pirate that you're brighter than you look. He looks up. He goes, "Ah, well, he'd have to be." And looks back at what he was doing.
I said those very words.
And the main pirate kind of looks at him and grins as if he's just been given a huge compliment and says, "Arr, what he said. Wait, what?"
Right. So, where are we meeting?
Where are we meeting? See, this is the thing.
Why
There's
not-
10 of us now.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many of them?
There looks to be about a dozen of them.
Right.
Well, we ain't meeting you by the The
Bloody
ogre
ogres.
caves, that's for sure. And we ain't meeting you up at the haunted ruin.
Who's the most,
You seem very picky.
out of all of your crew, who's the most useless? Who could you do without?
Like three of the pirates that are standing behind him point at the guy you're talking to. And as he looks round, you can see they all like straighten up, so he can't see them what they've just done. It's, we can find some useless folks.
What I'll say to you is,
Wouldn't say they
all
were
you
crew.
all you finger pointers back there, if you want to be in your captain's good graces and actually get us to the table to parley, tie him up. Tie him up and hand him over to us right now.
Well, anyway.
I'm going to glare at my friend and hiss a bit.
Yeah.
Right, so let's talk to the pirates and say, well, what guarantee have we got of safety here?
None whatsoever. But to be honest, yeah, I'd know. One of the other pirates goes, "Really? Do you have to do the voice?" But you had no guarantee of safety from the moment you invaded our island. You want to think yourself lucky that we're not just attacking you as the hostile foreigners you obviously are.
Try it.
Our island. You've got like own land.
Hostile foreigners. Is that how you greet guests?
Ain't no guests, you weren't invited. In fact, we did everything to try and put you off coming, but no.
You didn't.
Just like those people that you always say to them, if you're ever in the area, just look us up, come and stay. And then they actually do.
Right, hang on a second. Can I psychic contact with Thaldron without
Yes.
needing to roll any dice?
Easy.
I know I can with an
Yes.
enemy.
Yeah,
because we can both do it.
Yeah.
Right, in that case, right, if this is their island, ask them why they don't want it. Why they don't clear those giants out of the caves.
I'll ask them that question.
Okay. You ask them that rather pointed question and several of them start looking at the shoes. While the spokes pirate says, well, it's maybe not all of our island, that bit's theirs.
Yeah, but there's... have you seen what's in the cave?
His eyes kind of widen slightly, such as...
You mean you've never been in there like we have?
No.
Hold on.
And we're not dead.
Of course not, the cowards.
If they're pirates and they spend a lot of time on the sea as well, did they worship the sea god?
Yes.
Aha. So, do they know about the temple missing pearls?
Yes.
Seems like we might have some common ground here. Just saying.
Did they take the pearls?
Yes.
Well done, Gus idea.
The pearls aren't exactly missing, as one might say. We know exactly where they are.
Ah! You know where they are?
Uh-huh.
Bring them.
No.
Right.
We've liberated them, is what we've
Liberated them and upset the water elemental that lives in the temple.
Well, the water elemental can be upset. What's it going to do? Cry?
Your pirates.
Well,
You
we like
sail
to think of ourselves.
You sail your ship on the sea. The realm of the sea god. Gallinair.
I'll give him this one. He understands the difference between land and sea.
And what
Smarter
do you
than he
think
looks.
the sea god is going to do to people who have robbed his temple?
Well, he ain't done nothing yet. We haven't robbed it so much as we've rescued some of the things from his slightly abandoned and ruined temple. Think of it more as recovering it for him.
And then what are you doing with it?
Well, that's between us and him.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, it's between Udia and him anyway.
Let's. Shall we go and talk to this sea pirate captain then?
No.
Where are we meeting now?
Why should we do
What?
what they want?
Why not here?
Because
They're not going to do what we want.
Why not here?
if yeah, exactly. Why not?
Why anywhere?
here? Because like if we can get them on side, it's gonna be a heck of a lot easier to get those sea giants to back off.
And then we can actually have them fight the undead that come out of that barrow.
Bearing in mind, these people are responsible for the sinking of the Diamantina. They've come and attacked us.
Oh.
As I say it,
Yeah.
I'm watching for their reactions.
Right, one of them says... Oh, so you are saying it, right. So one of them says, we've not sunk no ship lately.
Lately.
You distinctly remember that the survivors of the Diamantina did say they were being chased by a ship, but it does occur to you. You've just made the assumption that it was their ship.
Mhm.
It might not have
A
been.
reasonable
Or
assumption.
it
which we
does
may
seem
never
a
get the answer
reasonable
for.
assumption, yeah.
Hmm.
But they seem to be claiming it wasn't. Do you
Okay.
believe them, though? That's the question.
So yeah, right. So let's get back to the meeting.
Try
with
to
the
detect.
captain.
Try to detect falsehood.
Are you able to do that?
As in, through body language, through tone of voice. Can you pick it up through communications?
Yes. Give me a yes, give me a communication. No. It's actually a empathy roll, which I think might be perception.
Yeah, it'd be perception.
Yeah. Let me have a look. Right, you're
15.
suspicious of them. There's definitely something they're not telling you. They know something about the sinking of the Diamantina, but whether or not they did it, you're not quite as sure.
Let's just say for a moment that you didn't sink them.
Ah, let's say that.
Who did?
Well, the sea.
Mm-hmm.
Happened in a storm, didn't it? We were caught in the same storm, remember?
So were you chasing them?
We were chasing them, to be fair. I will grant you that. We were chasing them off.
Right. And then we've got the 3 crew members of the Diamantina with us, and we're just saying to them, were you attacked by another ship, or was it the storm that caused the ship to sink?
They were attacked, but they were actually in the process of fending off that ship when the storm hit. And then they were also attacked by... They initially thought that they were attacked by sea folk. But they're actually... Whatever attacked them were too big for sea folk. They now believe they were Merrow.
Right.
Whether or not the Merrow and the pirates were acting in consort, they're not so sure anymore. They thought so at the time, but now they're starting to have their doubts.
Okay. Right. So our compromise situation then is to have them send somebody to go and bring the captain. We'll just all camp here.
The captain don't normally just answer a summons, but the captain
Not a
do
summons.
want to... It's not a summons.
If she wants to speak to us, she can come and speak to us. We're not going to march into your camp where we could be taken prisoner. And you see the problem.
Fair. Then we should meet somewhere. We should meet...
We've said where we'll meet. Here.
No, we're not meeting here.
And go then.
We'll meet... This one is starting to annoy us. Does he speak for all of you, or do the rest of you have minds of your own?
Oh, starting to try to sow dissension between us.
Well, you were doing that to them earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on. So where is your idea of neutral ground?
Somewhere with no cover. Somewhere out in the open.
I think that's fair.
There's a
Yeah.
beach north of here.
North of here.
He starts drawing in the sand to show you where he's talking about meeting. And what I'll do is I'll show you on the map you've got. There you go. I'm going to put a little X.
Marking the spot.
X marking the spot, exactly.
Where?
It's over here.
Oh, that square
over
chunk there.
here.
Yeah.
So they want to meet over there.
Yeah. Lots of flat land, no cover. Neither of us can surprise the others.
Just near that lighthouse, though.
Okay.
I would recommend you stay as clear of that lighthouse as you can. If you know what's good for you.
Why?
Because the ghosts of the lighthouse don't like to be visited, shall we say. Even less than we do.
Okay.
Which just makes you all the more want to go. I know what players are like. Don't go there, it's haunted. Oh, really?
Right.
Pack the snacks, we're off.
Don't go there, it's not finished.
No, it's finished.
No, when you said the place wasn't finished, it was the first place we went.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Okay. So, when you want to meet at the beach over there?
He kind of talks to one of the pirates next to him in a whispered, hushed tone. They say, we'll meet there at high noon tomorrow.
Gives us plenty of time to get there then.
Yes. And it'll be nice and bright. Nothing to hide behind, no cover, and a nice bright sun in the sky. Not that I'm saying we can't trust one another, but I'm sure we'd all feel more trusting if we could be sure that the other side weren't planning anything untoward.
Have we seen anything flying overhead on this island?
Nothing larger than birds, but
Seabirds.
the survivors of the Diamantina mentioned something about harpies. You're sure they did.
Right, so it's trying to lure us to an area that is out in the open, no cover. I wonder if that's a general feeding area for them. Just thinking that.
I mean, you're wondering if they're trying to do roughly to you what you were trying to do to them when you were hoping to feed them to the Merrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That could be a Merrow feeding ground. Okay.
Well, we
Could
have
be-
to go somewhere.
Could be in line with a zap from the tower, the lighthouse.
I mean, it could be. It seems quite a distance. I'll just go to my slightly more accurate map and I will check the distance. So
it's effectively there.
Yeah.
Right.
So about 4 kilometres from the lighthouse.
Hmm.
And about, as the crow flies, about 4 kilometres from where you are. About
Okay.
3 actually, 3 or 4.
So we've effectively got our map. So what we could do is, are they going to march with us to the place? They're going to send 2 people off to.
No, they're going to head back and tell Captain Aldea what the arrangement is. They're sure you will be able to safely make it to there.
Okay. Right. So if we're going to take this route, all right, can we? I don't know. There's some high points along the way.
Have we decided this is actually what we're going to do?
Are we going to do it? That's the question.
We have to do something. And,
We have to do something, yes. Why are we letting them dictate the terms of a meeting that we don't even know if we want yet?
Well, we need to find out what they're going to say. What this captain wants to talk about.
They're also responsible for stealing these pearls that we're looking after. That we're looking
Definitely.
We might find
responsible
out the
for that,
reason
because
for that.
They admitted that one.
And they said that it hinted that their captain had the pearls.
what if we convince them that people keep coming to their island and like annoying them with with our foreigner stuff because they took the pearls and the sea god is angry.
Nice
Yeah.
one.
How come this island's no longer invisible anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it is till you get within a certain range of it.
Why is that?
That's a very good question. You seem to look. You seemed to narrow down the cause of what was making the island invisible to that lighthouse that they don't seem to want you to visit. But the exact mechanism is still a mystery. And also, once you were within a couple of nautical miles of, I think it was 3 nautical miles of the island, it became visible again.
Yeah.
Might have been closer, actually.
While we observe a flag of parlor, there is nothing keeping them to the same rules, and they may be trying to get us to a location that is to their tactical advantage, which at first appears to be of no advantage to anybody. It appears to be flat ground. We could be walking right into a trap of any description.
Mm-hmm.
Why should we trust them?
That's
I
a good
didn't say
question.
anything about trusting them. I just said that we should go and see what the crack is. I didn't
So,
say
how many hostages are we taking?
By going, that is trusting them. It is taking on trust what they have said as being.
Yeah, we can be on our guard. That's
Why don't we just take 4 of them hostage?
Well, I tried tying one of them up and nobody would have it.
No, you wanted to feed him to the owners.
I never actually said that.
It was implied.
There's a huge difference between implication and inference.
No, but the thing is, right, so if we take 4 of them hostage,
Mhm.
they can pick any 4, and these 4 are guaranteed to die if there's any ambush along the way.
Mhm.
Yeah. We'll meet them at the meeting place then, in that case. How's that sound? Because we've got no guarantee that this is not a trap.
Give me a persuasion roll, whoever's going to present that to the pirates.
Oh, I will.
Okay.
I'll probably roll low here, so unfortunately this won't be good. There you go.
Yep, you called it.
+3.
Now, why should we give up any of our number to you untrusty foreign types? All we've wanted to do is have a bit of a chat, and you've thrown up one barrier after another. Why would we trust them?
Attack us. The last time we were here, you attacked us.
That was a misunderstanding. That's what the captain wants to speak to you about. Trying to clear up this little misunderstanding. I mean, we could go back and say it wasn't a misunderstanding. These people are quite happy to make enemies of themselves, or we could go back to the captain and say, yeah, they want to talk this through and solve this misunderstanding.
When we got in the way of your swords.
Yes, exactly. Clumsy, I would call that, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
There's like a ripple of laughter goes around the other pirates.
Looking around them, is the survivor that we let go among their number?
Yeah, I'm going to say yes.
Mm-hmm. I just look straight at him.
He looks away.
Is he laughing?
No, he's not laughing.
Your friend there doesn't seem to get the joke.
They just shrug. Well, some people have got more of a sense of humour than others. Smee over there never had much of a sense of humour.
How many did we kill when we were here last time? Asking the GM?
Asking me? Oh, shit. Okay.
Just give us a number. Just
think
throw
it
a
was,
number on it.
I think it was about 4, but I'm not sure. I can check.
4 or 5, I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Well, I'll tell you what, as far as people having a different sense of humour, the 5 who are no
actually,
longer
I think
with
it
you.
wasn't as many as that. It was 2 had a big red X through them.
Right.
the others seem to have run away. Yes.
Well, we let them escape.
Yeah.
So how the narrative appropriate number is what
I think
I'm
it
saying.
was 2. I think it was 2.
Okay. Well, the 2 that are no longer with you, they'll find everything funny now. They've got those permanent grins. Skulls tend to.
Okay. This is the kind of talk that's liable to turn this into a fight.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I'm not prepared to back down.
We're outnumbered, though.
What?
What? You should have started a fight when we're extremely outnumbered.
We're not outnumbered.
well, you are slightly. There's 12 of them. There's 10 of you, I think.
Well,
Something like that. So I wouldn't say extremely. So I think we probably need some kind of roll to see whether this is pushing them too far or not. So I just need to figure out what that's liable to be. It'll be a communications roll of some description. Are you actually trying to start a fight, or are you trying to intimidate?
Not trying to. I've been trying to intimidate them the whole time to build off what I did last time narratively, which was to let one of them go.
So we'll have a strength intimidation test off you then.
They saw me with a glowing sword and invoking the name of the Sea Lord. The attitude that they've brought doesn't seem... I don't know what this guy has said, or if they haven't believed him or something. But it's like, I was hoping that he would have them kind of quaking in their boots.
They really don't seem to be quaking. Whether or not he's told them about the magical element or not, but they seem a lot more confident than you were hoping they would be.
They do. They really do.
But let's see if that continues or not. So give me an intimidation strength check.
Not my forte.
I'll allow an intimidation communication test instead if talking is better for you. I know that the intimidation focus is normally under strength, but there is precedent in the rules for...
At your discretion, you can move them around.
Yes, there's actually mentioned in the rules for that. So
communication, and did you say a focus? Was it communication, intimidation?
It'll still be intimidation, yeah.
Right, I don't have intimidation, so that's just straight communication.
15, okay. They're intimidated enough not to have just attacked you for that. But you've obviously angered them rather than cowed them. You've riled them, but you've intimidated them just enough that they're not outright attacking you. They're kind of looking around their numbers, and it's almost as if you get the impression they're thinking, should we just go for it or not? Give me actually a perception empathy test.
Anybody or
anybody can. Yeah.
I'll do it. Thaldron's blind and stupid.
Okay, so an enemy, you get the feeling that the reason they're not as intimidated by the display of magic that you showed last time, you're tying this into... You're personally pretty certain that the storm was created by the pirates, even though they're claiming it wasn't and you can't prove otherwise. You think it's too big a coincidence. It's now occurred to you that the reason they're not intimidated by your magic is if they control the storm, they must have quite a powerful magician of their own. And you think the reason they're not attacking you now is because that person isn't here with them.
If we go out and stand in the middle of this undefended area, this flat area, perfect place to call down a storm on us, isn't it?
You'd think, wouldn't you? Aye. So it might very well be a trap. I mean, you can't be sure, but knowing what you've just figured out, it would make you less confident, certainly. But you're kind of at a standoff at the moment. They're just intimidated enough by you not to attack without support that they don't have handy, but not quite intimidated enough that they're cowed into submission either.
Just talking to the other players at this point, I am operating from the standpoint that they're trying to lure us into a trap.
So they didn't want to meet next to the caves, and they wanted to meet us up there instead, and they didn't want to meet us here, right? Do you reckon we could try and convince them to meet over here instead?
They specifically said no.
Did they? I didn't
Yeah.
think they would mention the temple.
I could have sworn they did. They said the lighthouse was full of ghosts. They didn't want to meet at the broken down temple.
Oh, right, yeah, okay.
And when we tried to lure them down to the
Right.
caves, because we mentioned that first,
That's
they said,
right.
"Oh, you mean the Mirror Nest?"
Bear in mind, they've already admitted to looting the broken down
Yeah.
temple, so they were the ones that were chased out of it by the
Yeah.
elemental. That's probably
Yeah,
why they
that
don't
makes
want to go
sense.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Fair.
Also,
Like, I
that
do
would
think
put
they're
them
leading
with.
us-
Sorry,
Like,
go
I
on.
do think they'll try to lead us into a trap, but also I am interested to see what they have to say. I just don't want to be up there. You know what I mean? I want to see if we can get them to meet somewhere else, but
I think if we do meet up with them, we're going to get an ultimatum of get the hell off my island and give me all of those things that you've managed to find, or they'll send us into something that requires a sacrifice.
But also the other thing is, I can't communicate the thing that I said earlier to
Right?
them because I don't have the same, like, you know, while I can see them, if I try and psychic contact with them,
Yes.
they'll probably fight it back, whereas the other guys that we were just talking to didn't.
Oh, if you want to say something, I'll say it on your behalf.
I can't communicate what I said to you earlier about why don't we try and convince them that the reason so many of us foreigners keep showing up on their island
All
is
right.
they pissed off the sea god by taking the pearls from the temple.
That yes, that was a very good suggestion. As Myval said, should we try and put that across to them?
Can do.
Okay, give me another persuasion test, whoever's going to try and present this to them. Then.
No, you did say that Thaldron couldn't do that. I've got communication to persuasion.
Perfect.
So, I'm more of the talker than Thaldron, perhaps?
You are, but you
by
have...
a point.
By a point.
Oh, right, okay. Well, in that case, it's going to be about...
blind and stupid, isn't it?
It's going to be about equal, then, because you have been more... antagonistic towards them, which would give you a -1 peasant penalty because they don't like you. So that would mean you and Thaldron would be about on a par. So pick whichever one.
What if I phrased it more like a threat?
Then I might be persuaded to give you a communications intimidation roll instead.
Haven't got intimidation, so that would still
That would
be
actually
lower.
make you worse, yeah.
That would make it worse, yeah.
How do you want to do it?
Okay, what if, because we've got this idea between us psychically, what if we confer between us about this issue that Myval has raised, as though they can't hear us, but they overhear us. So it's not us trying to persuade them, it's something that they overhear.
Okay, well, you are still kind of trying to persuade them, but you're trying to persuade them in a different way there. You're trying to trick them into it. It's underhand.
Yeah.
So that would give you the option of using communication performance or communication deception instead of communication persuasion. And it also would mean you would lose that -1 penalty. Because you're not appearing to directly tell them. They think they're pulling one over on you by overhearing you. So if you
Unfortunately, haven't got either deception or performance.
Yeah, don't have either of those two.
Okay, so that still wouldn't work out any better than
Could we make it a joint combined team effort?
Yes, you can. Actually, if you're going to do that whole, hold on, we're going into a huddle, stage whisper in the hopes they can hear it, that very much would be a team effort, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So yes, I would allow a team roll for that instead, which would mean all of you would roll and we would pick the best roll
Yes.
as the the base number, and if
And the
stunts
best
were
stunts?
generated, we would then pick the best stunt
Yeah.
dice result, even if it was from a different person.
I remember us doing that before.
We have done, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay then.
So yeah, that's probably your best option. Then try something like that if you want to. Yeah.
So rhubarb.
Custard the cat.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da.
Um,
Yeah.
Nutty Noah and Nelly.
Even if the worst comes to the worst and they kill all of us, even if they sink the ship that's out there, more of them are going to turn up. More of us.
Why has my rolled a
I
perception
pressed the
test?
wrong button, sorry. It's an annoyingly good roll as well.
Well, hold on. Is that necessarily a problem? All I need to do is adjust the... I'll keep the numbers and adjust
My
the...
perception's 2, but my communication's 0.
Okay, so I'll just take 2 off that, so it would be
Okay.
17 with
17.
6 stunts.
Fair enough.
I rolled a 14.
Okay. So 17 is the best so far.
Oh, do we get to add persuasion? Just Shaun did.
Right, okay. No, it should have been
All right, then
performance or...
mine's only a 12.
Right, yeah, okay. So 17
Likewise.
with 6 stunts is the best so far.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Then yes.
Then... yeah,
Very animated squeaking.
very animated squeaking. Tell me
What's that you
exactly
say?
what it is you're trying to
Young looking.
convince them of, and I'll work
Slap
it
on
in.
the map here as well.
If the worst comes to the worst, the fleet know exactly where we are. The fact that they've offended the Sea Lord, they're going to come down on this place like a ton of bricks. It doesn't matter how many storms they summon up. The place will be bombarded. It'll be razed.
Okay, but what are you trying to achieve?
Oh, we're trying to get them to. Did you want them to capitulate and get them to come and meet us here to find out what they wanted to say, or do you want them to bugger off and leave us alone?
Or give you some of the hostages was Shaun's idea earlier, or anything else you can come up with.
They might decide that losing 4 crewmates is easier than negotiation in a trap situation. Why can't we meet? We're not happy with meeting out in the open. We'd rather meet here, right?
Mhm.
And we will sit and we will camp here. They can camp here, and they can send off a couple of runners.
The
We
thing
can have
is,
mutual distrust going
the
on.
thing is, they may be holding that back as a bargaining position, that they've given us a place we definitely don't want, so that eventually, once we bargain with them, they'll reluctantly, quote unquote, accept here. Whereas here is a place they were perfectly willing to parley in the first place.
Yeah. That's up to here. However you want to phrase the conversation at the over here then.
Well, Louise, you were the one that scored the 17,
Yeah.
so do you want to weigh in on exactly what it is you're going to try and convince them of? And
I'm a lot of animated squeaking. But essentially, I want them to think, because they were very. They implied earlier that they didn't like foreigners coming to their island.
yes,
I want them to think that the reason so many people keep coming to the island is because the sea god is pissed off because they took the pearls from the temple.
okay.
It's now a shining beacon
Yeah.
attracting people psychically.
Okay.
There'll be a crusade to put those pearls back. And along
Okay.
with it, the heads of anybody who had them.
So that's what you're trying to achieve, is to get them to go, we'll put the pearls back in the... Okay. So
Or
that's
meet us here
something
to
that...
talk about it.
Yeah, and meet you there to talk about it. Yeah, in that case, that'll probably work. I was going to say that's something that only the captain can decide.
Yeah.
So, okay, I tell you what. Since we're getting nowhere here, we're just going round in circles. You said you'd be happy to meet here. It's not ideal for us, so we'll say... Well, technically, you're actually slightly closer to the coast than that, but you see where the banner is posted now? That is where he'll meet you, so that's just kind of Too far for your ship's weapons to fire is what he's after. There's a little bit of cover because there's hills and stuff, but you couldn't hide a lot of people in there. So he kind of eyes the place around a bit, and he's like, okay, so we'll meet. And he marks it on the map. It's about 1 kilometre from where you're currently discussing things. At high noon tomorrow, so that the sun will be nicely in the sky and everybody can see what's going on. We'll bring the captain here with those pearls as a... Let's call it a token of our goodwill, shall we?
Okay.
Squeaking of agreement.
Okay. You get the impression that he's not entirely happy with the bargain he's struck, but he thinks it's the best he's going to get. So he kind of snaps his fingers and walks off back towards the west. And all of the other pirates kind of form, you're assuming the pirates, form in a line behind him and tromp off. Some of them are glaring at you on the way past. None of them seem to dip.
It's off back to their stockade they go.
Yeah, exactly. So you get the impression that they're not 100% happy with the bargain they've struck, but they just don't think they're going to get any better. You also get the impression that he's a little bit nervous about how he's going to explain this to the boss when he gets back. Also, it's not going to be high noon tomorrow, is it? Because there's no way they're going to make that back in time. So let me just check the... He's going to have to go...
You might not want us to see the arrows.
We can just look away.
It's all right. I'll just put a shitload of extra ones in, and I know where. Okay. 2 days. 2 days, and they'll be back here to discuss with you about it.
Okay.
Which does beg the question of how he got here so fast in the first place.
And why it is that they were waiting there specifically, thinking we'd come back.
Yeah.
Right. Well, in that time period, then let's go and check the boat to the north.
The only reason we went back there was because of my harebrained scheme to get some corpses. Why would the pirates be waiting there?
Well, to put the thing where I think the ambush actually happened, if memory serves, was much closer to the coast, so it was actually not that far from the thing itself. So
I believe the combat zoomed in map that we were on had the coast on it, so yes.
Yes, that's right. So you were on the coast where your camp was, but you encountered them there, but here is where the meat's going to be. So a little bit, just far enough off the coast that the ships couldn't shell it, essentially.
That's what the yoga said. That's where the meat's going to be.
Well, yeah, it's still niggling at the back of your mind about were the Merrill and the pirates working together when they attacked the Diamantina. So you've got this thing organised. You've got 2 days. They're going to meet you at high noon on 2 days' time. So say a day and a half in total.
How big was the water elemental?
The water elemental was about...
Well, you're thinking we put it in a bucket and we bring it with
us? No.
It's about 2.5 to 3 meters high, wasn't it?
Right. So what attacked the Diamantina was bigger than people.
Yes.
Not necessarily Merrow. Could it have been water elementals?
No, it wouldn't have been water elementals because the Diamantina crew initially mistook them for sea folk, but they were too big.
Right.
So they were definitely Merrow.
Okay.
Well, no, I wouldn't say definitely, but they definitely weren't elementals, certainly. Currently, the likely candidates are Merrow. But you don't know, there are stranger things in on Aldis than are dreamt of in your philosophy, Horatio. Okay, so with that, then you see the pirates tromping off disgruntled into the distance. You are aware that you've got about a day and a half to 2 days before the agreed meeting. Whether you turn up to it's entirely up to you. But they did say they were going to bring the pearls with them. So you feel that, on the whole, you've got the upper hand here. The question is, are you going to wait for them, or are you going to try and investigate any of the other points of interest on the island?
The lighthouse and the ghosts.
The lighthouse and the ghosts. I was about to say that's a question that you can answer next week, but we now know that the next week you will be visiting the lighthouse. If you want to speed up your travel, by the way, instead of walking across land, you could always sail around.
Yeah.
Go around the outside.
Although you would be sailing into the rocky bits, so you know. Anyway, we can figure that out next week. Thank you very much for coming. Hope you enjoyed the game. I do apologise I wasn't actually on my best because I'm still a touch distracted by
you did
circumstances around my mother and whatnot.
Of course.
But I hope you enjoyed the game anyway.
Great.
We will pick that up next week, hopefully, all being well, of course, or as well as can be expected at least.
Yes.
So thank you very much, and thank you for those of you at home for listening. Do tune in again, hopefully next week, but as I say, that is subject to change on short notice, given my mother's current health issues, but we hope to be back next week as planned. Do stay safe, take care, and from us, good night.
Bye for now.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Well,
Good night.